Nuuchahnulth Gallic, my uncle, my Erickson, he asked me to speak on his behalf today. It's good to see such a strong presence here. Before I speak about what Jake has produced here, as the shoutout was going, I started to look around at all the people here, noticing, of course, some come from the culture, some are learning about the culture, and some are really trying to even make a connection to. I honor that and I give respect to that. If I could share, though, that shoutout and where our energy was going, there's a really, really great things that we do in our life. They're born from our spirit, they're born from emotion. Never mind this brain's going to grow, it's going to go. But when we can connect inside here, and that's what artists do. They bring something from within deep here, and they put it down courageously on canvas. It's an expression. We need more of that in this world, expression. We need more people talking from in here, not just following the almighty dollar and what we can achieve in life. If we had more people giving respect like you did today, to the energy that was here, to the thoughts that were put behind these paintings, we'd have more people believing in one another. And we'd have more people accepting individuality, that we're going to be different. You can feel that when that rattle's going. You can feel that special energy. And if you take time to focus on, ground yourself and focus on what's happening, you're a part of it. And you can't take away being a part of something. It always helps you grow. So I want to thank you for your respect before we start on talking about my uncle Jake Gallic's creation here. He stuck Sumaas, Port Alberni. That's the picture up there, Sumaas. Uncle Jake told me on the phone, or I came to his house, he talked to me on the phone, and I went to his house. He wanted to talk about this painting, the wealth of Shad, where he comes from. That's what I can speak from, the wealth of Shad. The home to all of us here is that paper mill dam. That's where our families gather. That's where we go for birthday parties and weddings. That was in Jake's heart when he wanted to bless the Armada, the ADSS, with something special from inside him, where we all need to learn how to keep coming from inside. This is what came out. So he wanted to share and make better connections again, like ADSS is doing. First Nation, none. Those connections are getting stronger. We wanted to bring some home down here. Sa'ahi, the rapids. Sa'ahi. It means that our people had so much wealth in that river that when the salmon were running, it looked like they were crawling on each other's backs. That's the Sa'ahi. Those rapids, the white water at the dam. When the salmon were all coming up, there was so much salmon, it looked like they were crawling on each other's backs. Today we're lucky to see 4 jumpers up those rapids. Hu'akui, long time ago when our people knew how to take care of the land, you could walk on the backs of the salmon is what they said. Uncle Jake, Auntie Jean here, myself, anybody who grew up, we heard about those stories. We long for the stories. We long to see that again in our river. So Sa'ahi, his family Gallic wolves are here. He comes from the Gallic family. That's an old design that's been in our family for, 1950s. This design. Boy, Uncle Jake wanted to put that there. You see, up at the dam, you see that big net. If you're lucky enough to go up to the dam early in the mornings, Friday, Sunday, Thursday morning, we fish for our community just like Uncle Jake put up there. We pull a net in, we divvy the fish up to community members. Boy, he put that up there because it means a lot. You know, our elders come up there, our children, our mothers, our fathers. We gather and fish together. And a lot of times we're lucky they cook the fish right over the fire. We eat it for breakfast. It's a beautiful time. Jake's sharing you the wealth of Shad. That river is our wealth. We must take care of it. He said that's exactly what he wanted me to say. I'm just glad that he called me up. It's an honor to speak for my uncle who comes from inside, where we all need to start learning to come from more. All of us, no one's better than the other. Where this world has been driven by this for so long. We need this. It'll grow. But this grounds us. Let Mark stay.
Thank you everybody for coming to the unveiling today. I feel really honored to have such a presence. It's a real strong presence with everybody being here, and it really honors the students that have come to help with us. Like some of our students did 60 to 100 hours in 7 weeks. They have been pulling really hard for me to get to this landmark today. And my fellow artists, Jake and Kerry, you know, we were working for many, many hours, and sometimes we were like eating pizza in my office or Chinese food, and you know, we're like just, you know, trying to lick our fingers and paint at the same time and being inspired and stuff. And you know, it was really nice to have the students with me because they were real pleasant. I have such admiration for the students that were with me, that they just, you know, from the very first day there, their hands were real shaky, they were really nervous, but by the end they were really strong artists, and we couldn't be here today without their help. Like, we really wanted to bring this here today to honor those students that were here and committed for me. I have a speech, I kind of went off tour. I would like to welcome our guests to the unceded territories of Shoutout and Nuuchahnulth nations where we stand here today. I need to give a big shout out to First Peoples Cultural Council for their funding and staff and support of the project. They really contributed financially to us, and it's really, this is one of their initiatives, is to give grants out for art. I come from Roy and Daisy Hayubis, Reg and Marianne Barker, from my indomitable great-grandmother Pawatsquitchie. Pawatsquitchie is my name, and when I worked in elementary, the students at elementary used to call me Pawa for short. I was the project lead and one of the three main artists with Jake and Kerry. The murals are entitled, where's my sign? I need a little help, I have to see. Yeah. Can you see it someplace? And it means the new generation. And when I saw one of our elders out, he was talking about this being the new generation. We are in a real dangerous place with our language right now, and it's a real big movement. And they're talking about our youth and our adults waking up. And it's no longer a time to be afraid to share your language. We came from a time where it was against the law for us to speak our own language. And so having this year was really an honor to all those elders and people that were not allowed to speak their language anymore. So we wanted to bring that to light. We started working with the elders, Angie Joe, Tom Curley, Jean Thomas, and our cultural specialist, Hinatinius, John Rampanen, Moira Barney, and our Nuuchahnulth Education workers. We then worked closely with our students. We first talked about our family crests, the meaning of our names, the real meaning of what it meant to become a family. I feel like those who shared with us in this journey, we really became a real family. We really became a community. This leads to many stories contained in these panels. I just really wanted to point out in this one that we had a bear here, and as you can see, that bear is swiping at a salmon. And if you look at the salmon's face, he's kind of like, because he's trying to be like, don't catch me, right? But this is a reminder to us that our life can change in 1 second. It literally, our life flashes before our eyes in 1 second. And that was going to be, we have lots of youth, and, be really present in this moment. We've had many losses in this school this year, and it's been a real hard year for our students. So as you walk by this is a reminder to our students to say, be present, be mindful. We always see the students walking around with their phones and their gadgets, and their safety first, right? And we also shared in there the story of the Sasquatch. We wanted to hide him a little bit in the forest because he's kind of there to be a watcher and a protector. But in our history, if you've seen one of these Sasquatch, it was a messenger to tell you that you have to be a little more careful with your life. We had one of our fellow artists, he did a bear claw for us, and that was down there on the ground. That was a real reminder from our friend Lincoln to say that our ancestors went before us, and they paved the way for us to be here today. And I really honored that little boy for helping us with that design because I really, really loved it. It's a real special part of us. And we had permission from the Clutesy family here to use the Tuquana, the man changing into the wolf. And he was in history, he was there to protect our children. There was many oral histories surrounded with him, so I encourage you to find an elder to find out more depth of that story. And we had an owl up there on the top, and he's up there to remind us that we're always there to be watched. They're used as messengers as well, just to be mindful of yourself and your whereabouts. And then I wanted to move into this one here. This one is called the 10th Wave. We'll have to give the definition of that. I have it on my phone, and my phone is not here right now. But this one was more about the 10th wave. And the 10th wave here is talking about, that there's a movement coming. 10th wave is usually the biggest wave. And in that 10th wave is the woman and the children coming alive to wake up. And they're saying that we understand our culture and our language is really, really powerful. It is the medicine to the healing of our people. There is a strong belief that our people had, in the 1980s, there was a huge mass of suicides in our communities. And they realized that that was one of the big things was missing from our people was they didn't have access to their language. And they found that when they started to restore the language in our people, that the suicide rate started going down. So it was an understanding here with one of my friends, Ed Ross. He was telling me, I was telling him the story about how the 10th wave was coming. I said, and you can always tell that the 10th wave is coming because the women are starting to move. They're starting to push everybody forward. Because it was the woman who was standing behind the men that the men, if they forgot something, they would turn to the woman to say, I can't remember how the story goes. I can't remember how the song goes. It was always the woman that carried the songs in the room. And the beats of the songs were kind of like the first time you hear them is when you're listening to your mother's heartbeat. And so up there in the 10th wave, you can see the mom is pushing the baby whale to the top. And if you watch a gray whale, they often will go up and they'll play with their baby whale, but they'll often protect the baby whale from other killer whales and stuff. And they push them to the surface. And when a baby whale is first born, the baby whale has to find its way to the surface the first time by herself. But generally, after that, the mom will come up and guide them to the top. And I put a male, but it could be any partnership. They're not really male and female. But in here, I put the male on the bottom to support the woman, because it was the man's job to keep his woman strong, because he knew that the woman's job was really large, raising the children and keeping our culture alive. So up on the top left, we had a seagull. There was a little bit of oral history that was explored with the seagull in shoutout territory. I'm not entirely sure where that is, but the gist of what I understand was that the seagull is the protector of the land and it keeps our land clean. And we have the cycle of the salmon in there, because the life of our salmon is really important. As he was talking about, they were saying that the life of the salmon was so strong in Sumas that you could walk on the backs of the salmon all the way from one side to the other. So we wanted a reminder to take care of our rivers and our logging, because if you don't take care of the logging, the rivers get decimated. They're literally scooping the salmon out of the river right now in the northern parts of Vancouver Island, because there's so much logging that our rivers and streams are drying out, and they're trying to save them. We had the seal and the Erickson as a reminder that everything has a cycle of life. You know, everything feeds everything. And I had an octopus and a jellyfish on there as aesthetics, just for making it really beautiful. I know that the octopus has kind of been the story of the protector of the ocean, and it's been told of the octopus being able to be so strong you can come out of the ocean and take your canoe out if you were not following and being protecting of yourself. Be mindful of yourself. And then we had even a little shrimp put on there. I don't know if you can see them from back here, but the little orange guys there, they're just adorable. One of the little students that came into my office on a regular basis, she really wanted to have her imprint on me, and so that was her contribution. And then we had a halibut from one of my other dear friends, Reese. She was really amazing. She really pulled for me. Anything that I ever wanted done, she would be right there. And then we had a cougar on the top there, just to be mindful that, you know, wilderness can come into our communities. And, you know, we've had a lot of stories of the cougars coming into Royal Bernie, so just be mindful of your children. I think one of the big things as parents is that when our children come to ADSS, we often think that because they're grown-ups and they look like they're grown-ups, they don't stop needing their mom and their dad. No, they really need their mom and their dad more now that they're in this building than any other time of their life. So I just really want to encourage the moms and the dads to be all over their children when they go home, because they're really yearning for that connection. So that's about all I have to share. I'm going to hand off my speech to my third leader, Kerry.
I'm really bad at public speaking, so I'm going to do my best. My name is Kerry Erickson, and my traditional name is Nuuchahnulth. As a mixed blood Heshkwit or Ojibwe woman living in the Tushat and Hippichisic territories we call Port Alberni, I feel honored to get to tell the history of this land a second time through art. I want to share a quote by Anne Cameron that has shaped me as an artist and a professional. For a story to be told, it must be told properly. And to tell a story properly, it must be told with respect. So, I've lived in this valley for 30 years. I was born and raised here. And my entire life, I thought the mountain always looked like a face. And then last year, Hank Gus was working with me on a mural I did at the T-Shop Market. And he told me that it is a face. And its traditional name is Kapkachuth. I don't know if I have that. Kapkachuth. And that's what its name means, and it means jagged-nosed woman. And I thought that was just amazing, because that's something that was with me for like my entire life. I thought that it looked like a face. So I feel very connected to Port Alberta. So that's my contribution as an outsider living here. I just feel honored to be part of this project. Hank shared with me the legend of Kapkachuth. When the flood came, the Tushot had to tie up their canoes, so this woman rose up and became part of the mountain. Sorry? Kapkachuth. So people could tie their canoes to so she rose up and became part of the mountain. I thought that was a really beautiful story. So the panel featured all the animals we see in the valley. Owl, bears, raven. Raven is my favorite. The Thunderbird, I thought that was a beautiful way to pay homage to the Tushot, because that's the symbol. And as a Nuuchahnulth person, it's usually the steward of the land, the Thunderbird. And then I really love trees, so I thought that was the main point of mine, was the trees. We're surrounded by trees in this valley, so I thought that was important. Trees give us oxygen, air conditioning, exactly. Yeah. And just a reminder that we live in a rainforest. So when we're complaining about all the rain we get, we can't live in this beautiful place without all the rain. Yeah. The woman in the red dress was our way of acknowledging the missing and murdered Indigenous women. It's a reality we face. Indigenous women are 8 times more likely to experience abuse and 3 times more likely to be murdered by a stranger. Well, I think that's it. I would like you to explain the story of hummingbird video.
Okay.
You're better.
One of my favorite stories as a child was the story of the eagle and the hummingbird. And you can see the hummingbirds above the eagle. And so in the story that I understand, and there are many interpretations of this in different nations and different families, so this is my interpretation, was the eagle would come into the community and he would boast about how strong he was and how fast he was, and his eyes were so piercing that he could see so far. And he came into the community and he's like, I'm the fastest bird in the community, I'm the strongest. I challenge anybody to come and race me. And so he went up, and Raven, like, okay, Raven's the next biggest size of bird, and he came up and he raced and they took off, and Raven had no chance at all. They were flying. Eagle beat him. And the hawk was like, I'm fast, I got really sharp wings, I can beat him. I bet you I can beat him. And so he took off, and there goes the hawk. And he had no chance. The eagle just took a couple really good strikes, and he was gone. And he challenged all the other birds, and then he got through all the birds, and he goes, does not nobody want to challenge me anymore? Am I just so fast that nobody can challenge me anymore? And little hummingbird comes out, I want to challenge you. I think I can beat you. I'm really smart. I'm really intelligent. I think I can beat you. So they took off. Whew. And as Eagle got up, and he was flapping his wings as hard as he could, and he got up and he said, nowhere down below I can see Hummingbird. I am so fast, I can't even see you. Where are you, Hummingbird? And Hummingbird was nowhere to be seen because he's so tiny. And so he's got up there and he just kept going and he kept going, and he got so tired because he was way up at the top now, and all the land was looking so tiny. He says, I'm so tired, I think I need to go back to the community. Hummingbird! Hummingbird! Saucon, where are you? And Saucon was nowhere to be seen. And just as he was ready to come back down to fly back to the community, hummingbird came out from underneath the jaw of the eagle, and he raced and he took off. He waited, you see, he was so smart. He waited until eagle could not fly anymore. And then he took off, and he was hiding in the jaw of the eagle. So in the moral of the oral histories was to teach you, you know, our stories had ways of teaching our people not to boast, not to think that you're better than one or the other. Our stories had teachings in them that made you feel really strong inside of yourself. And for us to say to you all here, you know, you are the hummingbird. You know, you have the right to go off and be as big as you want and raise the biggest bird. True?
So in closing, I'd like to let you all know you're invited up to the athletic hall. We're just all moving up there now, and if you'd like to join us, you can come and listen to some singing and dancing, performances, speeches, and we'll feed you.
Can we get a picture of the artists and the students?